Yo, what's up? It's 𝐊𝐶, and today is a very special video. This is something new that I'm going to be experimenting with, but interviewing health and wellness and biohacking and, crazy people that I love and look up to, and bringing them on the channel to talk about their expertise and interviewing them about like all the stuff that I want to know, and so I can share it with you. This is Mark Dhamma. He's one of my old friends. I was a client of his. He was a client of mine. We go way back. This dude is absolutely the guy who started the journey for me and really set the foundation, really laid the foundation for all the stuff that I built upon. And when I first came to Mark, I told him, hey man, I'm looking for a lifestyle transformation, like total lifestyle makeover. And when we started working together is actually right when I started having challenges with my health. It was like a couple months after I started his program, and I was so lucky to have him in those times. And I still use all the principles that he taught me today, which we're going to get into. And anyone who watches this video can walk away with like tangible things that they can use in their daily life to improve their health, to improve their energy, to improve their focus, to improve their performance, which is what Mark specializes in. He helps entrepreneurs basically be at their best. And whether it's their energy or whether it's their hydration or whether it's their sleep or whatever it takes that's stopping them from performing, he figures it out, finds the bottleneck, removes it, and then the entrepreneur can thrive. So with that being said, I want to hand it off to Mark, and I'm going to ask him a question about, what are the fundamentals of health that you taught me that you work with your clients?
Cool. Thank you very much for the introduction, Kyle. Really appreciate that. And actually, before we go into the fundamentals, you actually just mentioned something which I think is worth talking about right away. And you said that, what I look to do is to remove the bottleneck, And actually, there's a book just at the side of you, Kyle, which I'd like you to pull up. And this is Antifragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And Nassim Nicholas Taleb is actually my favorite author. And is, I guess, a philosopher, or also decision-making, risk-taker, decision-maker. Teaches you how to make decisions, basically, based on risk, probability, and also ethics. And one of the things that Nassim taught me is something called via negativa. And via negativa is Latin for by removal, by taking away. And I like to work on performance via negativa, how to increase entrepreneurs' performance by removing. And I like to work on that very thing first nowadays before we add any routines. Because as you know, people love to add, there's so many habits, there's all these hacks, there's all these, techniques, all these things you can do and add to your routine. And, I often joke about it, if you did every single habit that you've ever been taught by different, groups of entrepreneurs, business people, you'd probably spend more than half your day doing it, like your morning routine. You could easily get up to 2-3 p.m. doing your morning routine before you get to anything. And even though a lot of these habits are great, I find the easiest way to increase the performance of an entrepreneur is usually by removing the habits, the even mindsets, but the things that are causing them to fail. Well, not necessarily fail. Like I actually personally don't work with failing entrepreneurs, usually doing really well for themselves, but what are reducing the performance? And there's many things. Usually there's the obvious things like alcohol. Cannabis is on the rise. It's too much of it. And I'm not saying alcohol or cannabis is like bad, but they don't help performance. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it ever. Like I do enjoy both now and again myself. It's just if it's affecting your work, if it's affecting your performance, usually needs scaling back. There's things like your environment. Like I don't know if you've ever done a tour of the Manifest Mansion, but Cal's got a great environment set up for winning. And oftentimes, business owners don't have a great environment. There's, distractions everywhere. You know, they might not have business partners to get along with, employees. Basically, anything that is draining you, feels like it's draining your energy, or feel like it's a waste of your time, or for the most part isn't worth $1,000 or more per hour of your time, then very first step I do with the business owners is remove those things. Like, let's remove stuff that are draining you of energy and stopping you from being at your best. And we usually get massive increases in performance right away by removal via negativa. So that's one of the things right there.
Yeah. So one of the hardest things for me to implement that Mark taught me, that was my biggest thing that needed to be altered or changed or taken out, was staying up late.
Oh.
I could do everything else that he told me. There was two things that I really struggled with, which was, number one is eating enough calories.
Yeah.
And then number two was going to bed on time.
Yeah.
And it's so funny now, if you've been on this channel or if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I made a video about Oura Ring and about optimizing your sleep and how obsessed I've become with it. And like, my sleep is amazing now. Like, I'm going to bed at like 10 o'clock every night.
We're going to test that. I'm going to look at your stats.
Yeah, you can look at my Oura Ring. You'll see, man. Yeah, like my HRV is through the roof. Like, I'm on it. And I know, though, when he first introduced that idea to me, you know, I was so used to staying up to midnight till 1 o'clock, and like, it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you gotta cut that out. And then the second thing I'm still working on, it's just hard for me to eat a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like, I just stay the same weight.
Yeah.
So even when I'm working out. So the things that Mark taught me were these fundamentals. Okay. And I'm going to probably botch this, but I'll tell you what I remember, because it's been years since we've worked together. So number one is going to be water and hydration. So half your body ounces in water minimum of high quality spring water, or a water that works well with your system. You got to find and test which one works best with you. Number two is your sleep. So going to bed before 10 p.m., waking up at the same time every morning, and setting yourself up to have good deep sleep by having an evening routine. So that's blue light blocking glasses, that's a cold room, that's making it dark, that's all the other stuff that we've talked about in the other Oura Ring video. Then the other one was movement. So that's just like, you know, how many steps are you getting? Are you exercising? Are you sweating? Like, are you moving? The other one was nutrition. So it's like, simple way to do nutrition is just 1 fist protein, 2 fists carb, and 1 palm fats.
Almost.
Almost?
It has been a while. I
Okay.
should write this down for you. A palm size, 1 to 2 palm size portions of protein.
Okay.
2 fist size portions of vegetables.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And then you can have 1 index size portion of fats. And then you can also add like a cup, you know, like a handful of carbs.
There you go.
And actually, I want to say I actually got that from one of my mentors, Dr. John Berardi of precisionnutrition.com. And that's where I learned that from.
Shout out to Dr. John Berardi. And then trying to think if there was anything else. Mindset, right, is like positivity. Like, how are you thinking? Like, do you have negative thoughts? Are you spiraling down, or are you focused on, you know, what you want? Are you focused on the outcome? Are you focused on where you're trying to go, not what you're trying to avoid? And then there was a couple others that like fell outside of that. It was like sunlight, right? It was like meditation. And there's a couple things. But talk to me about how this has changed, or if it's changed, and what I missed and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you're nailing down a lot of these things and they're carrying on working for you today.
Yeah.
And what I would say is, in the mindset section is actually something that you've really taken on and you're excellent at. And I found you've really transformed your life by doing that, is through gratitude. So, and that's something you didn't mention, but I know that's, you know, when I see you, like, you remind me, like, man, yeah, I could be more grateful about things, actually.
Yeah, it's just when you're a hard pressing achiever,
Yeah.
it can be really challenging to focus on what you have and like appreciate what you have, because you're always trying to achieve, you're always trying to acquire, you're always trying to get. And it's so funny because, all the stuff that you taught me, I don't think I really fully embodied it until now, right? And like it's really it is who I am. And it's completely like I'm a different person than I was 3 years ago because of these principles and these philosophies. Like, I was a partier. I only cared about money. I was not very happy, in general.
You were stressed out a lot, man.
Yeah, I was stressed out. And now I'm calm as a cucumber. Even when things don't go my way, I'm just like, it's not a big deal. And one of the reasons why I hired Mark when I did is not only did I want to change my lifestyle, but I noticed that he was always just more happy than everyone else. And I was like, that guy knows something that I need to know. And I actually just crossed 100 days in a row of meditating for 20 minutes a day.
Wow, high five.
Yeah, so
respect.
Yeah, and that's a habit that he gave to me as well.
Respect.
So like I'm really excited to share with you all of his philosophies and his ways of thinking. I'm going to ask him some more questions about like what he's discovered since we worked together, because I'm really curious. I'm always trying to up my game. Yeah. Of course, we're going to talk about the fundamentals, but then I want to talk about the newer distinctions that he's made as well. So cool. Walk us through. Awesome.
Okay, yeah. So I have a process that I take entrepreneurs through to increase their performance, and I call them the 7 awesome steps. I didn't have it. It's always developing, and whenever I learn something new, I'll figure out how I can do things better. I implement that. So this wasn't fully built out when we was working together, and now it is more so. And then just a little bit of background so that you understand where I'm coming from and my thinking is my background is in sports science. So my bachelor's degree back in the UK was sports science and physiology. And I was always, since being 13, 14, always interested in like optimal physical performance, because I wanted to be an athlete, and like I enjoyed training, enjoyed athletics, and I also really liked women, so I wanted to get in good shape for that too. And then after university, I was a personal trainer for a while, and I was personal training in London, and I had a lot of business owners who were my clients, and I was helping them with the training, with the nutrition, and it became very apparent to me early on that these guys were training with me, an hour 3 times a week, and the rest of the time they were not taking care of themselves at all. So, they wanted to get in shape, but they were stressed out. I was like always worried about the health. They had high blood pressure, not in good shape. All of them multimillionaire, usually not too. Some of them were happy, not all of them though, not too happy. And the life was a bit of a mess outside of the financial success, to be honest. And I was like, man, I gotta learn how to help these people more, because I just did. I just wanted to help them more because, I was getting paid good money, and it was just the right thing to do, take care of people if they're your clients. So I decided to go on executive coaching courses to learn how to like help change behavior and how to communicate better with people. And then I started going on more nutrition and psychology courses. And then I moved out to California 7 years ago now to get a master's degree in positive psychology. It's actually positive organizational psychology, and it's all about how to create high-performing individuals and high-performing teams. And then what I learned there, and a lot of the other sort of my interests, like hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, meditation. Nowadays, it's more like energy work. I've sort of bundled that together to help entrepreneurs perform at the best. And I also should say that, I'm not just a coach for entrepreneurs. I don't just coach them, and I don't have my own business or whatever. I do have my own coaching business, but my wife and I, we run a hair and beauty business called swirlycurlyhair.com. If you got afro hair, anyone who's got afro hair and wants to look absolutely beautiful at their best, send them to swirlycurlyhair.com. So that's when me and my wife work on that. So that's
shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. Absolutely. So, so I'm in the trenches myself, and then I coach entrepreneurs. So what are the 7 awesome steps? Well, I like this simple system to get entrepreneurs performing at their best. And if you get these down, you're going to be high. You're going to be performing better than pretty much anybody else on this level. Okay. So here's the first one. A. So it's an acronym. Awesome is an acronym. A stands for awareness. So all change comes from awareness, being aware of what it is to change. So in the first step on awareness, the first thing we do is performance via negativa, which I mentioned. Like, what are the things draining your energy? Usually spend a couple of weeks just taking those out. And that has something else that's changed since we worked together. I give a lot more time for people to change their habits because it takes time to change a habit. It takes time. And like, business owners are busy. They got so much going on already. We got to take things slowly. You can't just go in, change everything, because that might work for a week or two and then it's just going to completely fall apart. So we take more time. So in the awareness section, we learn about how are you spending your time. So I recommend doing a time study, for example, and there's certain tools we use to study your time. Like,
what tools exactly?
So there's two. Thank you. We have a simple tool, which is a journal.
Yes.
Where for a week, or ideally 2 weeks, you write down every single thing you do. Woke up 7 a.m. Walked out, said hi to my, spouse. Well, spent time with my kids. Whatever. Everything. And then, then I walked to work for 15 minutes or whatever. I listened to this thing while I was going to work. I did basically your whole day documented, time-stamped what happened. Easiest way to do it is get your assistant to live with you for a bit and do it all for you, which somebody has done in the past, and it worked really well. That's the easiest way. The other way is people who like digital things is there's apps such as Hubstaff or Harvest, which is actually my favorite, where you can just have an app on your phone or on your desktop and you can track time. You can just input it digitally.
We'll put the links to the apps in the description.
So I think Harvest is probably the easiest for that. So you track your time and you just write down so you have a digital record of what you did. So time study. Where's your time actually going? Okay, because sometimes we think our time's going somewhere and it's actually going somewhere else. What else do we do? Aura Ring. Start tracking your sleep. Let's look at your sleep schedules. Let's become aware of your sleep. Start looking at your movement. Let's become aware of how much movement you do get or you don't get. Let's use those things to do that. Then we have calories. Big one for calories. Let's start tracking your calories. So I like MyFitnessPal. I like to track calories and water intake. I use MyFitnessPal. It's app, really easy to do that. Track both of those things. And more often than not, I actually find business owners don't eat enough calories. They're actually so busy that they're not eating enough.
Yeah, I gotta chime in on this because this has been an ongoing challenge for me, like for my entire career. And it's like, yeah, you're so busy you don't want to eat. And also, like, when you're stressed and like strung out or like overwhelmed, like your stomach acid gets shut off. And so your body's not producing stomach acids. You literally, it's just like you're not hungry. Or if you're stimulating yourself with caffeine, then that's like it cuts off your hunger as well. So there's a lot of things that can add to this. And if you don't force yourself to eat the calories, not only do you like lose muscle and but you'll have low energy, and you'll be nutrient deficient. Yeah. And when you become nutrient deficient, that's when you start seeing problems.
Yes, thank you, Kyle. Yeah, you're on your road to burnout, basically, in a simple word. And that's actually my challenge, eating enough calories too.
Because you're a big boy.
Yeah, I need to eat, And so MyFitnessPal, tracking calories. Now, do we do all the things all at once? Usually we get an Aura Ring right away. And, we'll find out what we think the biggest sticking point is and then implement these things right from there. Once we've gained some awareness of the situation, then we look at the 6 other awesome steps. So 7 awesome steps. A is awareness. We all start there. Next one is water. Yes. Drinking enough water, drinking the right type of quality of water. E is for eating. Eating enough calories, eating the right type of food that's going to increase your energy, going to make you feel like your best, make you look good, feel good, perform at your best. Then we've got S for sleep, optimizing your sleep, getting that right so that you learn faster, you just make decisions are better, faster decision making, you're happier, you're less stressed. That's like the magic bullet, pretty much. Sleep is like
it's so good. Like your hormones are going to balance, and it's actually the best hack for energy. Yeah. Better than anything else. Anything that you could take or anything that you could do, nothing is going to give you more energy than optimizing your sleep.
Right.
And like you're going to recover better. You're going to heal. Like you're going to become younger. Like it's just like on and on and on and on, the amount of things that sleep does for you. I know that it's so not cool. It's so not cool and it's not sexy, right? But yeah, that's changing now. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So sleep. Next one, O, is for outlook. Mm-hmm. So, we look at things like meditation. We look at things like gratitude, journaling. We look at things like there's lots we can look at. There's certain hypnotherapy things you can do. There's certain breathing exercises you can do, which I know you're well aware of, Kyle. Mm-hmm. And so there's outlook, reducing stress, movement, making sure you're getting enough movement. A movement's an interesting one. I call it movement, not just because it fits in my 7 awesome steps really nicely or an exercise. It's because, I think many of us have been conditioned to think that like you have to exercise, like you have to go to the gym, do something at the gym, and you really don't. You just need to move, whatever that is for you. So I usually encourage the entrepreneur to do something that they love. So for some people it's basketball, for some people it's soccer, some people it's running, some people it's dancing. Just whatever you love, just make sure you move, and at a minimum get your steps in. That's what really counts. Get 10,000 steps or more in a day. And then finally, it's the final E of awesome is entrepreneurial skills. So that is really about prioritizing the main thing. If, like Gary Keller says, the one thing that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary, focus on them each day, planning out your time, and just making sure that you're not doing all the busy work, all the low $10 an hour, $100 an hour stuff, busy work, or you're getting distracted by your cell phone and social media all the time. Just making sure that we're clearing out all the distractions, all the busy stuff, and that you're focusing on the one thing that's actually going to increase your revenue, your bottom line, your profit margins in your business, and then also that you're spending the right time, in your relationships and your health, and in those departments, so you have great well-being, so you can enjoy yourself.
Okay, so those are the fundamentals that we talked about, and if you do all those things, like you don't need any extra bells and whistles. Like no one's doing all the things, right?
No one's doing all the things. Yeah. I'm not doing all the things. Yeah. I'm like working on.
But if you focus on mastering the fundamentals, you're hitting your 80-20.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You're working on your sleep. You're hitting that 10,000 steps in. You're getting enough nutrition. You're getting enough water, and you got a good outlook, and you're managing your time well. Like, you're killing it.
Yeah, you're killing it.
Like you're killing it. And something like I'm gonna ask you some questions that like I'm curious about, because like as I've gotten more into health, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And what I've learned specifically for this question is like with nutrition, I have realized that everyone's body needs different things. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we first started working together, you kept it very like paleo.
Yeah.
And I also know that what I've learned is depending on like genetics, like you might need different types of like nutrition, and that might not fit the paleo model. Yeah. So can you talk to us about like what you do with that? And I mean, like, how do you go about navigating that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, cool. Thanks for asking. So there's a company that I've used in the past called DNA Fit. They do genetic testing. So shout out to DNA Fit. Shout out to Andrew Steele.
We'll put him in there.
He's one of the founders of DNA Fit. Yeah. Also ex-British Olympic athlete. So shout out to him. And that'll give you like a little bit about your genetics, like if you're more protein dominant, you need more protein and so forth. To be honest, I haven't dived super deep into this because, again, 80-20.
Yeah.
If you just eat real food and you follow, you remove processed foods, performance via removal, via negativa. If you eat a lot of vegetables and you're having lean meats, fish, and you're having some unprocessed carbs, you eat some rice, you're eating yams, potatoes, almost everybody improves. Everyone feels better. I've never found anyone who hasn't felt better from doing that. Yeah. So it's like the 80-20. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could dial in and find out, that actually, if you eat. Actually, the DNA Fit do actually give you some guidelines. So for me, it says I need a lot more omega-3s than a regular person. And
so more fish.
Yeah, and
supplements.
And a lot more like dark green veggie. Like I remember it saying like broccoli and dark green things for the antioxidants than other people.
Yep.
So definitely benefit in that. But as I said, 80-20, just eat real food, and make sure your calories are on point, which tends to be the biggest thing, honestly. Tends to be eat just real food and get your calories on point. Energy through the roof. People feel a lot better. So
it's a great answer. Yeah. And I think the way that he answered this question, like you can see how being healthy and living well doesn't have to be complex. Right. And until you actually do the fundamentals, you don't need to try to go off in some tangent or fringe or anything like that. It's just
I know. I've just got a story about that because when I was younger, I used to be in the gym a lot. Like 14, I was hitting the gym, and I've got pretty good genetics, muscle building. Like I remember I started with a couple of my buddies. We started at the same time, and my buddies, we went to the gym and we went every day for like a week, and we didn't know what we was doing. They shouldn't even let us in the gym. We was actually 14 years old, just turned 14. Like didn't have to sign a waiver or anything. This is in Manchester, England. None of that. And we just looked at all the bodybuilders and just saw what they were doing, and then we just copied what they did. And if there weren't like any massive guys in, we just did every machine in the gym. And I remember after the first week, I looked like I went to the gym, and my buddies didn't at all. I don't know why. My buddies were white guys. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I looked like I went to the gym and they didn't at all. And the reason why I'm bringing this story up is because, when I was like 18, 19, I was like in great shape or like really muscular. And the first question anybody asked me about when they wanted to like know about what I did, like guess what the first question was?
What do you take?
What supplements are you on?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know about what supplements you like. That's the thing. Like that's the thing, right? That makes a difference.
What supplements are you on? What are you taking?
That's a great question. These days I keep it real simple. Yeah. I take some krill oil, some omega-3s.
What company?
Dude, I need to upgrade. I was like taking Costco's for a while, but we're out of that now. I don't know. I haven't done my research. If you got any recommendations,
I do have one. I need to look at which one I have.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll be down. And then I take probiotic, Thrive probiotics. I take currently, and then I'm hesitant to say this, but I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to preface it a little bit or postface, whatever the word is. I take currently I take a multivitamin, but I don't take them all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm currently taking Thorn, their performance side, which is like morning. You have 3 in the morning.
Why are you taking it?
So I'm taking it to sort of just make sure I've got enough vitamins in me, the right ones. But the reason why I'm really hesitant, I don't take them all the time. I go off them for a while and then I'll switch it up, is because, as Nassim Nicholas Taleb would say in Antifragile, that's fragile. It's fragile in the sense that like human beings, we tend to like variation. Like with all of that, all of a sudden, even though we've known it for thousands of years, we know that fasting is really good for us. You know, eating the same amount of calories all the time isn't great for us. We like some type of variation. We like variation in heat. Saunas are fantastic for us. Found out.
By the way, I'm getting an infrared sauna.
Dope.
Yeah. Sunlight and yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I got one, but I need an upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. We found out that extreme cold is good for us. Like, you got your cold plunge outside, you know. Basically, variations is good for us. And variations in our diet would be great for us too, you know. When we're hunter-gatherers, there's only certain fruits available and certain vegetables, certain things available in certain seasons. We would absolutely have variation in our diet. So to take a multivitamin every day, which has the same dose of vitamins every day, over and over, there could be problems with that. And actually, there's been some research that have shown that, and I don't know right now, I've looked at it in the past, that multivitamins could be linked with increased cancer risk. And I've got a friend of mine who runs a website. What is it called? Oh my God, I can't believe it. It'll come to me in a second. But a friend of mine, Eric, he's got a website all about how to overcome cancer. Man, we got to put the link in. I think it's called quest2curecancer.com. Quest2curecancer.com. My friend Eric, he had cancer himself, and the guy's a lawyer by trade, and he stopped his law firm because he had like terminal cancer and started just researching everything about cancer. And luckily, he's on the up and up right now and recovered. And he says that he thinks it's because he took so many supplements, like so many vitamins, and he never gave his body a break. So whether that's true or not, what we do know is that is fragile. Taking the same amount of vitamins, like human beings would never do that, like never. So I'm not really a fan, but also nutrient deficiencies are real. So I tend to like cycle off them.
Yeah.
Probably won't take them now for like 2-3 months, and then take a different batch, plant-based. I prefer plant-based vitamins too, which there's a company called Garden of Life do, where they actually get the vitamins from plants rather than synthetic ones. And that seems a little less fragile to me because it's abundant in nature.
So I want to leave this with one last question, which is like kind of an obscure question. What has been your greatest health discovery that you think most people don't know about, that isn't one of the things that we talked about? Okay.
Easy.
All right, here we go.
I think you might be able to guess it.
Probiotics.
Yeah, fermented foods specifically. Fermented foods was the biggest discovery I had that I haven't mentioned that changed the game for me. Changed the game for me in terms of like my digestion, just better digestion, but also energy. Energy, but even like anxiety, even like everything. Just overall well-being. Fermented foods. And you might be watching this thinking like, what the hell? Or listening to it thinking, what the hell are fermented foods? Talking about things like sauerkraut. That's my favorite, especially when you make it at home. Sauerkraut, kimchi, for different types of fermented vegetables. Kefir. There's dairy kefirs. There's non-dairy kefirs. Kombucha is in there too, but not like the stuff you get from the store, you know, stuff you make at home. There's a vast array of fermented foods, and in different regions of the world, they have different fermented foods. And these are foods that are really high in different probiotics, gut bacteria, and that is the biggest game changer. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. I'm going to make a video about how to make homemade kefir, because that, along with the Prehab Dojo, which I talk about on this channel, and it will be linked up in the description as well, is like those two things are the two greatest health hacks I've ever discovered. Like when I was feeling really bad, I remember I was trying everything to feel good. I was throwing everything I could at the sink, and it just like, it wasn't working. And then I remember one day we were shooting, and you had brought some water kefir, some apple kefir, and you gave me a little bit of it. And it was like, boom, I'm back to life. It was like I've returned to who I was before I started having challenges.
Yeah.
And I've been drinking it ever since.
Yeah.
And I share it with everyone that I can. I'm like, this is the greatest health discovery I've ever been introduced to.
It tastes good too.
It tastes amazing.
It tastes great. It's like if you put it with juice, which you've got to do a video on this.
Yes.
So easy. But if you do it with juice, it's like soda. It tastes like soda kind of thing.
And if you let it ferment long enough, it's actually, you can drink it like alcohol.
Yeah.
And this is what I've replaced if I'm going to go out and I have it, I'll drink it. I'll let it ferment for long and make it alcoholic. You can drink it. It will make you feel amazing. And then no hangover.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You feel great. Like you get like tipsy, buzzed.
Yeah.
And then no hangover.
That's a hack.
Yeah. This is some next level stuff right here. So, Mark, thanks so much for taking the time and sharing what you've shared. Where can people find you and where should we point people to?
Yeah, great. You can go to markdhamma.com. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Mark Dhamma. And then superchargeentrepreneurs.com is coming soon. Cool.
Thanks. We'll see you in the next video.
Thanks.
Peace.